Beautiful people, welcome back to our channel and thank you so much for joining today. So today's video, without wasting more time, let's go into the video and discuss about Romania. To those of you who are going to be migrating to Romania come September, or to those who are going to be moving next year, I want to tell you that Romania is one of the last affordable countries to migrate as an international student, because looking at the metrics now, most international students, or let me say most countries or universities, requires a lot of money. Yeah, so if you are looking at affordability, Romania, Italy, Portugal should be in your agenda. All right, like in your books, you should be looking at universities in these countries and trying to strategize on how to enter into any of these countries. If your money is maybe around 5,000, 6,000 euros, 7,000 euros, then these are the countries you should check. But remember, you need to pay tuition deposit. So today we are going to talk about Romania, budgeting in Romania, jobs in Romania, cost of living in Romania, expenses. So that is what I'm going to talk about. But before we talk about that, remember that as soon as you get admissions to study in Romanian universities, any of your choice, if you apply to maybe Babes Bolia University in Cluj-Napoca, or you apply to the University of Bucharest, or you apply to the West University of Timisoara, or you apply to Transylvania University in Brasov, or you apply to Technical University in Iași, depending on the city, whether you are living in Cluj, wherever the university is, either in Bucharest, maybe in Brasov, or in Timisoara, it depends. But just know that you are going to pay a tuition deposit. Why are you paying this deposit before you can apply and move to Romania? The reason is because you have to use the receipt and apply for a study visa to Romania. Remember, to apply to any school in Romania takes a lot of time. It doesn't really take time to apply, probably maybe 2 days maximum if you master the websites properly, but the process is it's going to take time for you to get the visa done. Okay, like get the admissions and get the visa done. So depending on the school in which you are studying in Romania, note that you have to pay a tuition deposit, complete tuition. Okay, if they are charging you maybe 2,500 for a year, or the school is charging you 3,000 euros per year, you have to pay all that money. Then when you go in now, that's for the first year. When you go in now for the second year, you can then pay in installments. It can be paying in installments. And also remember that the tuition varies from 2,000 euros to like 5,000 euros in Romanian universities, and also it varies per department. Let me say the programs vary per department. Some departments or faculties, I beg your pardon, some faculties like the Faculty of Arts, the Faculty of Science, the Faculty of Sports, the Faculty of Agriculture, the Faculty of Social Sciences, Humanities, and maybe the Romanian Language Faculty, it's not the same. The tuition is not the same, and depending on the program you are studying, maybe a bachelor's programs, a master's, a PhD, the tuition is still not the same. But in all, just know that as soon as you get admissions, you are going to pay tuition for 1 year before you can apply for a study visa to Romania. Now, while you are applying for this study visa, you need to know how you are going to live your life, how much you are going to spend in Romania. So a part of the tuition, okay, we are not talking about tuition, we want to talk about the cost. You should understand that different things like maybe the rent, transportation, different expenses, and of course food, they cost differently depending on the city in which you are. But in total, with just maybe 300, 400 euros, maybe 500 maximum, you can spend on everything in as a student in Romania and an international student in Romania. Cameroonians, please remember that there is no Romanian embassy in Cameroon. You might decide to go to Abuja, or you might decide to go to Senegal. I know someone who went to a Cameroonian who got his Romanian visa to Romania from Senegal. So if your money is not enough, if you really want to move abroad, your money is not enough, then you can strategize and see if you can start from maybe Romania. When you go in, you study hard, then you find your other ways round. Now, let's start with the cost of rent in case you are looking for possibilities to migrate to Romania. let's look at how much you are going to spend a month for rentage or for rent. Now, you need to also understand that when it comes to the rents, there are studio apartments. There are, depending on you, if you decide to stay in a studio, it depends on you. If you decide to stay in a student cabin, it depends on you. And or if you want to stay in a school hostel. But again, I always say that as an international student, it's better for you to choose the school hostel during your first year. Then if you go in and you do not like it, you can change from the school hostel and take a private accommodation. But the main issue here is sometimes if you take the school hostel, you have to sign a contract, and for you to leave the accommodation early, you might lose all the money you because there is a paper you sign, so right, you have to read it and sign it. Always remember that. So depending on where you are staying, it doesn't matter, but know that for your monthly expenses for accommodation, you may pay 50 to maybe 100 euros per month. It depends on where you are staying. You can still pay 200 to 300 euros depending on where you are staying and the city, maybe 400 euros depending on where you are staying and the city. Now let's take a look at how much you are going to pay when it comes to the student coming. Remember, I said in some Romanian universities you might get a hostel, but when it comes to the student coming, understand that some accommodations may not get any fee for the Wi-Fi. You may not be paying any fee for Wi-Fi. You may not pay anything for water and gas, things like that are supposed to be provided by the hostel or the accommodation. You are not going to pay for it, but in others you are going to pay for it. Okay, just know that things like that you are going to spend less. In case you are not paying for gas, water, and of course electricity, you are going to pay less. Even when I was in Cyprus, we used to pay around, I think my bill for electricity some months used to be like 50 euros. Then gas used to be like maybe 10 euros. Then Wi-Fi used to be around 15 euros maximum. I can't remember vividly, but that was how much we used to pay. But again, I used to live in a shared apartment, so it all depends on where you are staying. Now, when it comes to other types of accommodation for Romanian students or students who are going to Romania, please understand that you can also take what is called shared apartments. All right, shared apartments, sometimes an apartment has like 2 bedrooms, some 3 bedrooms, some 4 bedrooms, and in this case you are going to be paying like maybe 300 euros. Now this bill is not just for you alone, it is for everybody sharing the bill, because when they say 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, it means there are 3 sleeping rooms, 1 big parlor, and a kitchen and toilet where everybody shares the kitchen and the toilet, right? But for the sleeping rooms, it's everybody can take a room. It now depends on you. Most couples will probably go for these shared apartments, or you can still decide and go for maybe a studio apartment in case you find it. Okay, but just understand that sometimes this type will cost you 300, 400, 450 depending on the type, what you want, depending on your taste, let me put it this way. Then also for you have to also sort the electricity, you have to also sort the gas and the water bills. All right, and most of the time it will be shared between everybody that lives in that apartment, and yours may cost you around 300 to maybe like 400 30 to like 100 euros. I hope you understand, because everybody is now sharing. You guys will now divide the bills depending on the number of people in that apartment. So it also depends when you leave, like if you go and you start living with people in an apartment that maybe some people are very careless in using those things, like when somebody is not in the house, he turn on the lights. When somebody is not at home, he turn out maybe when you cook and your food is ready, you still leave the gas burning, stuff like that. If you live with people who are so careless, you may be paying much bills, because they are going to do what is going to affect you, and at the end of the day everybody is going to share. So if you are going to be using a shared apartment or sharing with people, please, you have to consider the people you are sharing with. Make sure you go where you know that the people are also within your same range and can also manage like you. It's so important for you to put all this into consideration. That is for the shared apartment. Now when it comes to food, just know that you are going to pay, maybe spend like 100, 150, 200, 250 euros on food alone. Now there is something again you need to understand when it comes to food. Depending on your feeding habit, depending on how much you consume, how you can consume within a day or a week or a month, but in a general you can maybe spend around maybe 100, 200, 300 maximum. Of course, food in Romania is not that expensive. Romania is not one of those expensive countries like the UK, the Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, and the rest, right? And even Canada and United States. So you can spend less on food. And again, if you live in a shared apartment and you guys want to maybe contribute everything, buy the food on monthly basis, then you may even spend less amount of money. Okay, but sometimes if you are living in a place where you think that minding your business is okay for you, why not? You get your own food stuff, you save them, and you are good to go. But just know that 200 to 150, 200, 250 may be enough for you. Some people may not be even like great consumers. What I mean by great consumers is some people may be eating less, maybe once a day, or maybe sometimes they don't even eat at all. So in that case, they may not even spend up to this amount, but just know that food is cheap. Then let's take a look at transportation as an international student in Romania. International students, especially in every country that I know, usually have a discounts when it comes to transportation. Like when I was in Cyprus, I used to pay only private, maybe public buses, but when it comes to schooling and going to school, returning from school, there is always a school bus. It's either you follow the school bus on the schedules they have, or you pay a private transportation. But again, the students usually have, like, you have a student card, it's easy for you to just hop in on any bus, or if there is no bus, but students will always have discounts. Though in Cyprus there used to be no discounts, but in advanced countries there is a discounts. And in Romania, if I think students have a discount, and you can just be maybe within a month you can sacrifice 10 to 15 euros and you're good to go. So it's not an expensive country, like I told you before, so you should know this. Then for maybe other things like entertainment, not everybody wants to be entertained. Some people are introverts, others are extroverts. So if you are going to be entertaining yourself, then you may be spending maybe 25, 50, 70 euros, depending on how many times you are going to the cinema, or maybe how many times you are going for entertainment purposes, because it's not going to be free, of course, you know that. But again, if you want to go for university outings and stuff, it's totally free. So you should put all this into consideration. Countries like Romania, they are usually very cheap and affordable for international students. The only problem might be at the level of the visa, or maybe admissions, because some people definitely would not get the admissions, and also visa will be an issue, because I know many people are trying to enter into Europe now, and Romania is not an exception. Again, just know that it is a cheap country to consider. I hope this helps you. We are going to talk about other things related to admissions in other videos on Romania, and I will advise you, or I can say, please make sure you watch to the end, so you don't ask me questions that I already mentioned in the video, or maybe you don't come asking for questions that I mentioned that in the video already.